mic here. And at that open mic, you have an opportunity to win a spot to open up this show. Our next guy, the strongest handshake I have ever felt. It's like, I come in like firm, I have a good handshake, and this guy like break my hand. And it was really hard to deny him this spot, knowing how strong his hands are. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Beck.
Thank you, Dan. How's everybody doing? Yeah, that's true. I do have the world's strongest handshake. I've been told numerous times. I like to tell people it's because I work with my hands. I like to tell people it's because I chop firewood, but I think looks like there's probably some husbands here and probably understand why my hands are as strong as they are. I've been married any decent amount of time. Be summed up in a recent conversation I had with my wife this past weekend where she was going to the in-laws and she rolls over Saturday morning and says, I was going to walk to the produce store and pick up fruit to take to my mom and dad's, unless you would like to do that for me. And I lovingly look over and say, I was thinking about masturbating, unless you would like to take care of that for me. Subsequently, she walked to Produce Junction and my grip got even stronger. We just recently went on vacation. We were in Key West for a week. My sister got married. If anybody's been there. Nobody? Okay. If people haven't been there, I highly suggest it. We had to arrive at the airport for a 6 o'clock flight. I haven't been in an airport since before 9/11, so I never experienced TSA. My mother, who went with us for the wedding, has not been in an airport since I was 12, which is 31 years ago. So it was quite an adventure. 6 o'clock flight, 4:30 arrival time, 3 kids, my mother, my wife, all daughters, so I'm surrounded by women. And we're standing in the line at the TSA, and the screen is telling you, if you've seen it, please remove your jewelry. And my mom looks at me and says, it's 74, I'm not removing my jewelry. All right, Mom, okay. So take a couple more steps forward. Any zipped up jackets, please remove your jackets. She looks at me again, I'm not taking my jacket off. Now for some reason at 74 now she wants to be indignant. She wants to argue with a TSA agent. So we get up to the gate, we all go through, raise our hands, do the spin. I get out before my mom. Having never experienced it, it was interesting to watch. My mom goes through, hands go up. I'm watching on the screen, and every angle of her body comes up with a red square. As she steps out, they pull her to the side. Ma'am, we're gonna have to frisk you. Put your hands up. They're frisking her back of the hands, between her breasts, upper legs, and her thighs. She comes over and sits next to me as I'm putting on my shoes, and I said, you know, that was really disgusting. And she looks at me and says, why? I said, Dad's been gone 12 years. I know it's been a long time, but it'd have to take a TSA agent to get a feel. So we get onto the plane. We're loading on the plane. I have 3 children, 3 girls. They're sitting in front of us in a row, which, again, I get the ultimate parent's revenge. The whole 2-hour flight to Fort Lauderdale, just punching and kicking and yanking their seat and banging my tray up and down and looking through and grabbing their arms. Dad, stop, knock it off, to the point that they were calling the stewardess over to ask if they could have their seats changed. We arrive, we get the vehicle, we drive all the way to the Keys, and again, reference being married, the first thing I do before going to the store and getting my alcohol for the week, I go in and check the bed. Knowing that my mother is with us and the room's walls are thin, if the bed makes any noise, my vacation's already shot in the ass. I go to push the bed. Number 1, it's on wheels on a hardwood floor. Number 2, the headboard's not even connected. As I push the bed, the headboard falls to the floor and crashes, a loud crash, and everybody runs into the bedroom to see if I'm okay, and that's when my wife realized the same situation, that our vacation was shot. The rest of the week went smooth. We had a good time. The wedding was a beautiful wedding. She got married on Sunset Key, the island off of Key West. Very exquisite. And for those of you who have been in Key West, it was a very intoxicating week. I found out that if you see a bum sleeping in Mallory Square, you should not put his shoes on out of your flip-flops, because they are a decoy for the other bums that need a place to urinate. On the flight home, we get to the airport and we have just a few minutes to eat. Actually, we had 2 hours, I'm sorry. We had a 2.5 hour delay in Tampa to come back to Philly. So we're going to grab a bite to eat, and we sit down, we place the order, and all of a sudden, they come over the PA, Southwestern Airline 8432, you're boarding in 5 minutes. I just ordered, what the hell, I just ordered my food. So we gather everything up in to-go containers, we run over. At this point, my mother's in a wheelchair from the week of drinking and walking around Key West. Plus it got us on the plane first and got us preferential seating. So it was a benefit to have her with me after all. I didn't get lucky all week, but getting on the plane first was a benefit. So we get her in the plane, we sit down, the kids are, again, I'm behind my kids, again, so I can punch, kick, pull, yank their hair. And we see the captain come out of the cab. We see somebody come in from Southwest. I'm like, what's going on? There was a mistake from the tower, and now we were delayed 1 hour and 45 minutes in the plane. After I inhaled a burger from Chili's, I think it was, in like 4.5 seconds, so I could get in the plane. So I just sat with incredible heartburn while my kids enjoyed their chicken fingers and their quesadillas. We hear some commotion with the girls, and I look over the seat, and I have an 8-year-old, and she's got the eye patches that they give you to sleep on the planes, but the shape of it, she thought it was a bra. And she was trying to wrap it around her chest. And I was like, I look at my wife, and I was like, you need to handle this. And when she handles it, she brings it back and sits down, she's smiling. And she looks at me and says, I didn't tell you, but the one day Meredith, my wife Meredith and Erin were walking on the beach together, and our 8-year-old looks at her and says, Mommy, when do you get boobies? And I said, because my wife is not very well endowed, I said, I'm sure you looked at her and said, I'm still waiting to find out myself. That didn't go over too well. We've been home 10 days and I still haven't celebrated any type of vacation sex or home for vacation sex. But it's fine. So we have 3 girls. It takes up a lot of time. It takes up way too much time. I do have a job that gets me home early with them, so I get to spend time with them alone at night. My wife works a little bit later. I'm a chef and just recently got a promotion in the company I work for. A week into my promotion, I was confronted with an issue that I never thought I'd be confronted with. I was confronted with the fact that I was being written up for a harassment issue because I was using an Asian accent within a kitchen. The funniest part, there's 2 really funny backstory parts to this. The day before I received this write-up, we're sitting in a room of 50 managers, chefs from within the company, and one of the heads of HR, I'm assuming, says we're going to be speaking about harassment, and one lady opens her hand up and says, will we be touching on sexual harassment? And he looks at the group and says, that will be later in the event when we have the role play section. I hope you received the negligee I sent in the mail. And I thought to myself, I know I'm getting written up for talking in an Asian accent, and this man is blatantly harassing in a sexual manner. So it goes on, and I find out a little bit later in the week after I received my write-up that the gentleman who I did these accents with actually was written up as well, and he was written up for using an Asian accent, and he is Chinese. So how the hell can you write up a man for speaking in his natural tongue? It made absolutely no sense. I can understand me saying, "Oh, this man, I talk to him all the time, and he not like it when I talk like this." But when a Chinese man does it, why is he being written up? Why is he having his job put on the line? And I just, the whole entire process, I'm trying to still process it through my mind, because it changed the way I worked, it changed the way I joked with people, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I come here, because I can talk like this, I can talk like this, you can talk like this here, and nobody wants to nobody's harassed by me, right? If I say this to you, is this okay? You like this? It's okay, thank you. Somebody answered me. It's nice to hear answers. It's a little scary up here, you know? Okay. You guys are having fun. All right. That's good. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your show. We do have a bunch of really good guys coming up. I think Dan's going to be out here in a second. My name is Matt. I hope you enjoyed my Key West trip. And I hope to see you guys in Key West, maybe. We can share some bums, wet sneakers together. All right? Have a good night.
I just think, guys, you can show up on any given Tuesday and earn a spot to do that. Like, you can do this every Tuesday. All right, guys. I looked around, I saw that was falling on deaf ears. So, this next guy, he writes probably the funniest animal blog you're ever going to find. Maybe the only one that's funny. It's called Animals Are Rad. You can find it, Google it. He's also the comedy wrestling champion of Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Mike Logan. Woo!